Ghost of the Void. The Galactic Alliance celebrated their greatest triumph 3 years ago when they finally broke the back of human resistance. After a decade-long war that had stretched across 17 star systems, humanity's military might have been crushed, their colonies subjugated, and their homeworld placed under strict martial law. The Treaty of New Geneva had forced humans to dismantle their remaining warships and surrender all military technology. Commander Vexlar of the Alliance stood tall on the bridge of his flagship, the Invincible Judgment, his 4 eyes scanning the tactical display with satisfaction. As a Zentari, a species known for their tactical brilliance and natural telepathic abilities, he had personally overseen the final battle that had brought humanity to its knees. The memories of human vessels breaking apart under Alliance fire still brought him satisfaction. "Commander, we've lost contact with Outpost Sigma-7," his communications officer reported, her tentacles twitching with concern. Vexlar's upper eyes narrowed. "When did communications cease?" "4 standard hours ago, sir. We've sent automated probes, but they're not responding either." This was the 3rd Alliance outpost to go silent in the past month. The pattern troubled him. Each disappearance had occurred along the outer territories, places once controlled by humans before the war. The Alliance Council insisted these were merely technical malfunctions, or perhaps the work of scattered human insurgents. Vexlar wasn't convinced. "Prepare a battle group. We will investigate personally," he ordered. The journey to Outpost Sigma-7 took 3 days through hyperspace. When they arrived, Vexlar expected to find a damaged station, perhaps attacked by raiders or disabled by some system failure. What they found instead was nothing at all. The massive station that had housed 3,000 Alliance personnel had vanished completely, leaving behind only a slowly expanding field of molecular debris. "Impossible," his science officer whispered. "The energy required to atomize a structure of that size." Vexlar's skin paled to a ghostly white. "Full sensor sweep. I want to know if whatever did this is still here." The sensors found nothing, but as they completed their final sweep, a message burst through on all communication channels, a simple text transmission that appeared on every screen throughout the ship. "We have not forgotten. We have not forgiven." The message vanished as quickly as it had appeared, but the damage was done. Panic spread through the crew like wildfire. "Sir," his tactical officer called out, voice trembling. "Something is emerging from the debris field." At first, Vexlar couldn't see it, a shadow moving against the blackness of space. Then, as it turned, the starlight caught its hull. A massive vessel, unlike any he had ever seen, materialized before them. Its hull was midnight black, absorbing light rather than reflecting it. No running lights, no visible weapons arrays, no engine emissions. It moved like a phantom through the void. "Impossible," Vexlar whispered. "That's the Phantom Dawn." The Phantom Dawn had been a legend, a ghost story told among Alliance officers, a human superweapon that had supposedly been destroyed in the final battle of the war. The rumors claimed it was a prototype vessel equipped with experimental technology that could bend space itself. The Alliance had searched for its wreckage for years, never finding concrete evidence it had even existed. Yet here it was, a leviathan of human engineering that should not exist. "Open communications," Vexlar ordered, struggling to keep his voice steady. Before his communications officer could comply, every screen on the bridge flickered to life. A human face appeared, a woman with steel-gray hair and eyes, so dark they seemed to swallow light, just like the ship's hull. Scars covered the left side of her face, the mark of someone who had survived when they should have died. "Commander Vexlar," she said, her voice cold and measured. "The Butcher of New Eden." Vexlar stiffened. New Eden had been a human colony he had personally ordered destroyed when they refused to surrender. "I am Admiral Helena Frost of the Earth Reclamation Fleet," the woman continued. "You believe you won the war 3 years ago. You were wrong. The war has just begun." "This is madness," Vexlar replied. "Your ship was destroyed. I saw it break apart myself. A smile touched the corner of Frost's scared mouth. What you saw was what we wanted you to see. While your alliance celebrated victory, we disappeared into the dark, rebuilding, repairing, and waiting for the perfect moment to return. One ship cannot challenge the might of the Galactic Alliance, Vexler said, though fear crept into his voice. One ship. Admiral Frost laughed. Look deeper, Commander. The sensors officer gasped. Sir, I'm detecting spatial distortions all around us. They're cloaked vessels, dozens of them. As if responding to the officer's words, ships began to materialize around the Phantom Dawn. Cruisers, destroyers, frigates, each bearing the insignia of Earth's former fleet. Ships that should have been dismantled years ago. You took everything from us, Admiral Frost said. Our freedom, our dignity, our homes. Now we're going to take it all back. The transmission cut off. Evasive maneuvers, Vexlar shouted, but it was too late. The Phantom Dawn moved with impossible speed, closing the distance to the invincible Judgment in seconds. No weapons fired. No explosions rocked the ship. Instead, a strange wave of energy pulsed outward from the human vessel, washing over the Alliance flagship. Systems began to fail one by one, but not from damage. They were being taken over. Sir, we're losing control of the ship. The helmsman cried out. All systems are being overridden. The lights on the bridge dimmed, then came back online with a different hue. The red emergency lighting of human vessels. A new message appeared on the main screen. This ship is now under the control of the Earth Reclamation Fleet. All non-essential personnel will be placed in stasis chambers. Essential command staff will be retained for interrogation. Vexlar watched in horror as his bridge crew collapsed around him. Struck by some invisible force, he felt his own consciousness beginning to fade. His last thought before darkness took him was a terrible realization. The Alliance had never truly understood humanity. They had believed that humans could be broken through force, that their spirit could be crushed through defeat. They had been catastrophically wrong. Reckoning. Vexlar awakened in a cell. The walls were stark white, with no visible door or window. A holographic display flickered to life on one wall, showing Admiral Frost sitting at what appeared to be the Phantom Dawn's command center. Good morning, Commander, she said. I trust you slept well. Vexlar rose to his feet, his 4 eyes narrowing. What have you done with my crew? They're safe. Unlike you, they're merely pawns in a game they don't understand. They've been placed in stasis and will be released when our mission is complete. And what mission is that? Revenge. Vexlar asked, trying to keep his voice steady. Frost's scared face remained impassive. Not revenge. Justice. There's a difference. The holographic display changed to show a star map of Alliance territory. Red markers pulsed across numerous systems, Alliance outposts and installations that had gone silent over the past 3 months. You've been busy, Vexlar observed. We've been precise, Frost corrected. Every target has been chosen specifically for its role in the subjugation of humanity. Military installations, propaganda centers, detention facilities where human prisoners are kept in conditions that violate your own laws. Vexlar's skin rippled with unease. The Council will never negotiate with terrorists. We're not terrorists, Commander. We're survivors, and we're not interested in negotiation. The Admiral leaned forward. We're interested in something far more important, and that is truth. The display changed again, showing classified Alliance documents, reports, orders, and communications that should have been impossible for humans to access. Operation Final Solution, Frost said, her voice now sharp as a blade. The Alliance's plan to systematically exterminate the human race once our military resistance was crushed. Sterilization compounds in water supplies, engineered viruses targeted at human genetic markers, labor camps where survivors would work until they died. Vexlar stared at the documents in horror. This is propaganda. These documents are forgeries. They bear your signature, Commander. You personally approved the deployment of sterilization agents on Earth and 3 colony worlds. The blood drained from Vexillar's face. He had signed those orders, believing the chemicals were merely sedatives to pacify the human population during the transition to Alliance rule. He had been told they were temporary measures. "How did you get these?" he whispered. "We had help," Frost replied. A door opened behind her, and a tall, elegant Centauri female entered the frame. Vexillar recognized her immediately. Sinra, a high-ranking member of the Alliance Council, and his former mentor. "Sinra, you betrayed your own kind." The Centauri counselor looked at him with all 4 eyes. "I betrayed no one. I upheld the principles the Alliance was founded upon: mutual respect and cooperation between species. What the Council ordered against the humans was genocide, Vexillar. I could not stand by and watch." It had been Sinra who had helped the Phantom Dawn escape during the final battle of the war, who had provided the codes to fake its destruction. For 3 years, she had been feeding information to the human resistance, helping them build a fleet in secret. "What happens now?" Vexillar asked. "Now," Admiral Frost said, "we make a statement that can't be ignored." The display changed once more, showing the Phantom Dawn leading a fleet of over 100 human vessels, some Alliance designs that had been captured, others of human construction, toward a massive space station. Vexillar recognized it immediately. Nexus Prime, the seat of the Alliance Council. "You can't possibly hope to attack Nexus Prime. It's defended by the largest fleet in the quadrant." "We don't need to defeat them," Frost explained. "We just need to deliver you and the evidence you've seen to the public areas of the station. The Phantom Dawn has technology your Alliance scientists barely comprehend. Dimensional folding drives that can bypass any defense, molecular disruptors that can selectively target materials without harming organic life. We've spent 3 years perfecting weapons you can't defend against." Vexillar understood now. This wasn't about destroying the Alliance, it was about exposing it. If the other species in the Alliance discovered the Council's plans for humanity, the entire political structure would collapse from within. "The Alliance will fall apart," he said quietly. "That's the idea." Frost nodded. "But it doesn't have to. That's where you come in." "Me?" "You're respected, Commander, a war hero. When you stand before the assembled representatives of all Alliance species and confirm the truth of these documents, some will listen. When you call for the removal of the current Council and the establishment of new leadership that honors the original principles of the Alliance, many will follow." Vexillar stared at the human admiral. "Why would I do that?" "Because despite everything, Commander, you believe in justice. I've read your private journals. You questioned the necessity of what was done to Earth. You argued against the harsher measures on the colonies. You were overruled, but you tried." Frost's expression softened slightly. "And because if you don't, the alternative is the complete destruction of the Alliance and everything it stands for." The next 12 hours passed in a blur. The Phantom Dawn did exactly as Admiral Frost had promised, using its revolutionary drive technology to appear directly inside Nexus Prime's central atrium. Alliance security forces found themselves unable to fire weapons, disabled by targeted energy fields that affected only synthetic materials. Vexillar stood before the emergency session of the Alliance General Assembly, thousands of representatives from over 300 species watching in stunned silence as he confirmed the authenticity of the documents projected for all to see. His testimony was broadcast across all Alliance worlds. "I believed I was serving a just cause," he concluded, his voice echoing through the vast chamber. "I was wrong. We were all wrong. We became the very thing our Alliance was formed to prevent. Conquerors who would exterminate those different from ourselves." The uproar was immediate. Calls for the Council's resignation thundered through the chamber. Security forces, already sympathetic to Vexillar's words, stood down rather than defend the Council members. Within hours, the Alliance Council was dissolved. An emergency governing body was established, with representatives from all species, including humans. The first act of this new government was to formally apologize to Earth and its colonies, and to begin the process of repealing the Treaty of New Geneva. Admiral Frost watched from the Phantom Dawn, orbiting Nexus Prime alongside the now revealed human fleet. Was it worth it? Asked Captain Marcus Chen, her second in command. 3 years hiding in the void, rebuilding in secret, living on the edge of survival. Frost looked at the view screen showing the proceedings on the station. Hixinra was addressing the assembly now, outlining a new vision for the Alliance, one where humanity would take its rightful place as equals, not subjects. "We could have fought a war of vengeance," she said quietly. "We could have made them suffer as we suffered. That's what they expected, what they feared. But we chose something harder. Justice instead of revenge." Chen nodded. "Not just justice," Frost corrected him. "Understanding. They feared us because they didn't understand us. They thought breaking our military would break our spirit. They never realized that humanity's greatest strength isn't in our weapons or our technology. It's in our resilience," Chen finished. Frost nodded, watching as humans and Alliance representatives began to work together on the station below, taking the first steps toward a new future. "The Phantom Dawn was never just a ship," she said. "It was a symbol of humanity's refusal to be extinguished, of our ability to rise from the ashes of defeat." As if in response, the great ship's systems hummed with life around them, no longer hiding in the shadows, but standing proudly in the light of the Alliance's central star. A ghost story no more, but a herald of a new beginning. "Send word to the fleet," Admiral Frost ordered. "Operation Phantom Dawn is complete. The real work begins now."